Captain Tay stood in the observation deck of Meridian 7, watching the stars through the massive windows. He had been a soldier for 15 years, but nothing prepared him for this moment. Humanity's first real meeting with aliens. Not just a radio signal or a distant probe, but actual beings from another world. The Velen Empire had sent their ships 3 months ago. They were careful, polite, and very formal. They wanted to meet humans face to face. They wanted to talk about trade, about peace, about sharing space in this corner of the galaxy. Ambassador Quan had chosen Tay to be part of the diplomatic team. "You're steady," Quan had said. "You don't panic." "We need that." Now Tay adjusted his dress uniform one more time. Dr. Yuri, the team's alien biology expert, walked up beside him. "Nervous?" Yuri asked. "Should I be?" Tay replied. Yuri smiled. "The Velens are fascinating. Their bodies are made of a crystalline structure. They shine from the inside. They communicate with light pulses along with their voices. But they're peaceful. We've seen nothing aggressive in any of their messages." "That's good to know," Tay said. He had read all the briefing materials, but hearing it again helped calm his mind. The announcement came over the station speakers. Velen delegation arriving in conference hall, all human personnel. Please take your positions. Tay walked with the others down the gleaming corridors. Meridian 7 was a neutral station, built quickly by both humans and Velens together. It floated in empty space between their territories. Everything here was new, clean, and full of hope. The conference hall was enormous. On one side stood the human delegation, 20 people in formal clothes. On the other side, a doorway opened, and the Velens entered. Tay caught his breath. They were beautiful. Each Velen looked roughly humanoid, with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. But their bodies were translucent, like living glass or crystal. Colors moved under their skin, soft blues and purples and greens. They wore simple robes that didn't hide their natural glow. They moved with grace, almost floating across the floor. At the front of their group was Princess Hana. Tay knew her from the photographs, but seeing her in person was different. She was shorter than the others, and her crystalline body held more colors. Gold and pink mixed with the blue. Her face was delicate, with large eyes that seemed almost human. Ambassador Quan stepped forward. He spoke slowly and clearly. "On behalf of humanity and the people of Earth, we welcome you to Meridian 7. We come in peace and friendship. We hope this is the first day of a long and happy relationship between our peoples." The Velen leader, High Chancellor Seok, bowed slightly. His voice came out musical and strange, but the translation device made it clear. "We accept your welcome. The Velen Empire seeks knowledge and peace. We believe our peoples can learn much from each other." The formal ceremony continued. Speeches were made. Gifts were exchanged. Then came the moment for individual introductions. Ambassador Quan had explained the plan. Each human would be paired with a Velen counterpart. They would shake hands, a human custom that the Velens had agreed to participate in. "Princess Hana," Ambassador Quan said. "May I present Captain Tay? He will serve as your military liaison during the summit." Princess Hana stepped forward. Up close, Tay could see the light pulses moving through her body. They were faster now. Nervous? Excited? He couldn't tell. "It is an honor, Princess," Tay said. He extended his right hand, palm open, just as they had practiced. Hannah looked at his hand for a moment. Then she reached out with her own. Her hand looked almost exactly like a human hand, but it caught the light like a prism. Their hands met. The moment their skin touched, something happened. Princess Hana's entire body lit up like a sun. Colors exploded through her crystalline form, bright reds and golds and whites that Tay had not seen in any Velen before. Her hand gripped his tightly, and her whole body began to shake. Not just a tremble, but violent quivering, as if electricity was running through her dot. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Princess. One of the Velen guards rushed forward. Tay released her hand immediately, stepping back with his hands up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, but Hannah was still shaking. The colors in her body pulsed wildly, out of control. She fell to her knees, and 3 Velen attendants caught her before she hit the ground. The entire Velen delegation surged forward. High Chancellor Siok's voice was sharp. What did you do her? Nothing. Ambassador Quan said. We only shook hands, as we agreed. Tay stood frozen. His hands still tingled where they had touched. What had he done wrong? Dr. Yuri pushed through the crowd, his medical scanner already out. Let me help her. But the Velen guards formed a wall. They picked up Princess Hana, who was still shaking, still glowing with those impossible colors. High Chancellor Siok's body turned dark red, and Tay understood enough to know that meant anger or alarm. This meeting is over, Siok said. We must attend to the princess. No one is to approach any Velen until we understand what has happened here. The Velens carried Hana out of the conference hall. She looked back at Tay once, and her eyes held confusion and something else. Fear? Wonder? He couldn't tell. Within minutes, the hall was nearly empty. Only the human delegation remained, standing in shocked silence. Ambassador Quan turned to Tay. His face was pale. What happened? I don't know, Tay said honestly. We just touched. That's all. We just touched hands. But even as he said it, Tay knew it wasn't true. Something had happened in that moment. Something neither of them expected. When his hand met hers, for just a split second, he had felt something strange. Like falling. Like opening a door he didn't know was there. Doctor Yuri was already talking into his communicator, calling the medical team. We need a full scan of Captain Tay, and we need to review all the footage. Something happened that we don't understand. Tay looked at his hand. It looked normal. It felt normal. But when he closed his eyes, he could still feel the echo of that moment. The touch that changed everything. He whispered to himself, What did I do to you, princess? But there was no answer. Only silence and the growing fear that humanity's first contact might also be its last. 3 days passed like a nightmare. Captain Tay sat in a medical quarantine room while machines scanned every part of his body. Dr. Yuri and his team ran test after test. They found nothing wrong. No disease, no strange energy, no unusual readings. Tay was perfectly normal. I don't understand, Dr. Yuri said, staring at the screens. You're completely healthy. There's nothing in your biology that should have caused that reaction. Tay sat on the examination table, tired and frustrated. Then what happened to her? We don't know. The Velens won't talk to us. They've sealed off their section of the station. High Chancellor Siok sends one message every day, and it's always the same. Princess Hana is stable, but recovering. They're investigating. They'll contact us when they're ready. That's it? Tay asked. That's it, Yuri confirmed. Ambassador Quan is going crazy. The whole summit was supposed to last 2 weeks. We're supposed to be discussing trade agreements, territory boundaries, cultural exchanges. Instead, we're all sitting here waiting. Tay stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the Velen ships floating near the station. Beautiful vessels that looked like they were carved from gemstones. Do you think I heard her? He asked quietly. I don't think so, Yuri said. I've watched the footage 100 times. You did exactly what we practiced. A simple handshake. Other humans have touched Velens during the construction of this station. Nothing like this ever happened. Maybe it's something about me specifically, Tay suggested. Maybe, Yuri admitted. But what? You're not telepathic. You don't have any strange abilities. You're just a regular human. That night, Tay couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the moment in his mind. The feel of Hannah's hand, smooth and cool. The way her eyes widened. The explosion of color through her body. And that strange sensation he had felt, like something opening between them. At 2 a.m, his door chimed. Tay sat up quickly. "Come in." The door opened, but no one was there. Then he saw it. A small device on the floor, blinking with a soft blue light. He picked it up carefully. It looked like Velen technology. When he touched it, a holographic screen appeared. Princess Hannah's face looked out at him. "Captain Tay," she said in the recording. "I need to speak with you. Alone. I know this is dangerous. I know my people have forbidden contact. But I must understand what happened. Please meet me in Observation Deck C at 0300 hours. Come alone. Tell no one." The message ended, and the device went dark. Tay sat holding the device. This was against protocol. If he got caught, it could end his career. It could ruin the entire summit. But the princess was reaching out to him. She wanted answers, just like he did. At 0300 hours, Tay walked into Observation Deck C. The room was dark, except for the starlight coming through the windows. Princess Hannah stood there, alone, her body glowing softly in the darkness. "You came," she said. Her voice was steady now. "Are you all right?" Tay asked. "Everyone said you were hurt." "I was not hurt," Hannah said. "I was overwhelmed. Captain Tay, when you touched me, something happened that has never happened to any Velen before." "What do you mean?" Hannah stepped closer, but kept a careful distance. "My people have limited empathic abilities. When we are close to other beings, we can sense basic emotions. Happiness, anger, fear. It helps us communicate. But it's always faint, like hearing whispers from far away." She held up her hand, looking at it as if it belonged to someone else. "When you touched me, Captain, I felt everything. Your memories flooded into me. I saw your childhood, your parents, your first day in the military. I felt your fear about this meeting. I felt your hope for peace. I felt your loneliness, your dreams, your regrets. Everything that makes you who you are, all at once, like a wave crashing over me." Tay stared at her. "That's impossible. Humans aren't telepathic." "I know," Hannah said. "That's what frightens my people. That's why they won't speak with you. They don't understand how you could share so much without meaning to." "I didn't even know I was sharing anything," Tay said. "I just shook your hand." "I know," Hannah said again. She moved to the window and looked out at the stars. 3 other Velens touched you briefly during the incident, trying to help me. They felt it too, though not as strongly. They all reported the same thing. Humans carry something that we can sense. Something deep and powerful and overwhelming. But why? Tay asked. "Why would touching me affect you that way?" "We don't know," Hannah admitted. "Our scientists are studying all the data. But I needed to speak with you directly. I needed to know if you felt anything." Tay thought about it. "For a second, when we touched, I felt strange. Like I was falling. Like something opened. But then it was gone." Hannah nodded slowly. "I believe your species has something ours does not. Some quality of consciousness or emotion that is stronger, deeper, more intense. And my people can sense it. We're like receivers, and you're broadcasting something you don't even know you're sending. Is that bad?" Tay asked. "I don't know," Hannah said honestly. "High Chancellor Seog thinks it's dangerous. He wants to end the summit and cut off contact with humanity. He says any species that can overwhelm our senses is a threat." "But you don't agree," Tay said. "No," Hannah said softly. "I was overwhelmed, yes. But I was also amazed. Captain Tay, In those few seconds, I understood more about what it means to be human than I learned from months of reading your transmissions. I felt your passion, your intensity, your desperate need to connect with others. It was beautiful and terrible and wonderful all at once. She turned to face him directly. My people live for centuries. We have time to think, to plan, to build civilizations slowly. But you humans, you burn so bright. Every moment matters to you because you know your time is limited. That's what I felt in you. That urgency. That fierce desire to make your brief existence meaningful. Tay didn't know what to say. He had never thought about himself that way. I need to understand this, Hana continued. I need to know if this is really what humans are, or if it was just you. But my brother Jin is calling for you to be expelled from the station. The High Council meets tomorrow to decide. I have very little time. What do you want me to do? Tay asked. I want to try again, Hana said. A controlled contact with medical monitoring. If I'm prepared for it, if I know what's coming, perhaps I can withstand it better. Perhaps I can understand it more clearly. Will you help me? Tay looked at this alien princess, glowing softly in the starlight. She was asking him to risk everything. If it went wrong, it could destroy any chance of peace. But if it went right, maybe they could solve this mystery. Yes, he said. I'll help you. Hana's colors shifted to a warm gold. Relief, he thought. Maybe even gratitude. Thank you, she said. I'll arrange it. But Captain Tay, whatever happens next, I want you to know something. When I touched you, when I felt everything you are, I was not repulsed. I was honored. You humans may not live as long as we do, but you live more deeply. That is a gift. She turned and left quickly. Before anyone could see them together, Tay stood alone in the observation deck, looking at his hands. Somewhere inside him was something that aliens could feel. Something that overwhelmed them with emotion and memory. Something that made him human. He wondered if it would save them or destroy them all. Dr. Bora arrived from Earth 2 days later. She was a neurologist, someone who studied the brain and how it worked. She brought another scientist with her, Professor Day, who specialized in human evolution. Ambassador Quan had called them when it became clear that this was more than a simple diplomatic problem. They gathered in a secure conference room. Tay, Dr. Yuri, Ambassador Quan, Dr. Bora, and Professor Day. The door was locked. The room was swept for listening devices. What they were about to discuss could change everything. I've reviewed all the data, Dr. Bora said, pulling up screens full of brain scans and biological charts. And I have a theory, but it sounds crazy. Right now, I'll take crazy, Ambassador Quan said. Tell us. Dr. Bora took a breath. Humans are unique in a way we never realized. Our brains are incredibly plastic, more than any other Earth species. We adapt, we learn, we grow. We form deep emotional connections. We dream, we create art, we tell stories. We feel empathy so strongly that we cry watching fictional characters suffer. What does that have to do with the villains? Tay asked. Everything, Professor Day said, standing up. Think about how humans evolved. We survived because we worked together. We formed tribes, families, communities. We needed to understand each other deeply. A mother needed to know what her baby needed before it could speak. A hunter needed to coordinate silently with his team. A leader needed to feel what her people felt. So we evolved to be emotional, Tay said. More than that, Dr. Bora said. We evolved to broadcast our emotions. Body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, pheromones. We're constantly sending signals to each other. But there's something else. Something we didn't know about because we couldn't measure it until now. She pulled up a new scan. When I examined your brain activity during rest, during excitement, during memory recall, I found something. Your neurons fire in patterns that create what I call a resonance field. It's incredibly faint, almost impossible to detect with our instruments. We thought it was just noise, meaningless static. But now I think it's not meaningless at all. What is it? Dr. Yuri asked, leaning forward. It's consciousness, Dr. Bora said simply. Or at least an echo of it. Every thought, every emotion, every memory you have creates ripples. Like dropping stones in a pond. Normally, these ripples are so weak that nothing can detect them. But the valens are made of crystalline structures. Their entire biology is based on sensing and processing vibrations and energy patterns. They're the perfect receivers for something we're constantly transmitting without knowing it. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this. So when Tay touched Princess Hana, Ambassador Quan said slowly, "She felt his consciousness directly." "Exactly," Professor Day said. "And human consciousness is intense. We feel everything deeply because we have to pack so much living into such short lives. Compared to the Velans, who live for centuries and process information slowly and carefully, we must seem like we're burning at 1,000 degrees. Tay remembered what Hana had said. "You burn so bright." "We need to test this," Dr. Yuri said. "But the Velans won't let us near them." "One will," Tay said. He explained about his secret meeting with Princess Hana and her request for a controlled contact. Ambassador Kwang looked angry at first, then thoughtful. "If we can prove this theory," Kwang said, "maybe we can make them understand. Maybe this doesn't have to be the end. There's someone else who might help," Dr. Yuri said. He pulled up a communication. "Commander Nari, head of Velan Security. She sent me a message this morning. She wants to volunteer for a test contact." "Why would she do that?" Tay asked. "Because she's a pragmatist," Yuri said. "She wants to know the truth. She says if humans are really dangerous, she needs to understand how and why. And if we're not dangerous, she needs to prove it to her people." 2 hours later, they were in a medical lab with every monitoring device they had. Commander Nari stood on one side of the room. Her crystalline body was a deep, stable blue. She looked calm and professional. Tay stood on the other side, trying not to be nervous. "We'll start with a brief touch," Dr. Bora said. "Just fingers. 1 second. Then we'll break contact and assess. Commander Nari, if at any time you feel overwhelmed, just pull away." Nari nodded. Her voice was steady. "I understand the risks. Proceed." Tay walked forward slowly. He extended his hand, palm up. Nari extended hers. Their fingertips touched. Nari's body flashed through a rainbow of colors. She gasped, her hand gripping his for just a moment before she pulled away. She staggered backward, and Dr. Yuri caught her. "Are you all right?" he asked. Nara stood there, breathing hard. Her colors slowly stabilized. "I felt it," she said. "Like drinking from a waterfall. So much, so fast. Emotions, memories, sensations. All at once. What did you feel?" Professor Day asked, recording everything. Nari closed her eyes. "I felt his curiosity about me. His worry about the summit. A memory of his mother. A song he heard yesterday. Fear that he might have hurt the princess. Hope that we could be friends. Regret about something he said to someone years ago. All of that in 1 second. She opened her eyes and looked at Tay. "You humans carry entire worlds inside you. How do you manage it? How do you function with so much happening in your minds all the time?" Tay didn't know how to answer. "I guess we're used to it. It's just how we are." "It's overwhelming," Nari said, "but also incredible. I've studied humans for months, read your literature, watched your films, listened to your music. But 1 second of touching, you taught me more about what it means to be human than all of that combined. Dr. Bora was analyzing the readings. This is remarkable. Commander Nari's nervous system was lit up like a star. She was processing an enormous amount of information. But there's no damage. No harm. Just overload. Can we try longer contact? Professor Day asked. Not yet, Dr. Yuri said. We need to go slowly. Build up tolerance. But Commander Nari, would you be willing to help us prove this to your people? Yes, Nari said without hesitation. They need to understand. This isn't a weapon. This is just what humans are. Over the next 2 days, Commander Nari did more controlled contacts with Tay. Each time lasted a little longer. Each time, she described what she felt. The science team recorded everything, building a complete picture of what happened when Velans and humans touched. Word spread through the Velan delegation. Some were curious. A few volunteered for their own tests. Each one reported the same thing. Touching a human was like experiencing an explosion of consciousness, but it wasn't harmful. It was just intense, but not everyone was convinced. High Chancellor Seok remained suspicious, and Princess Hana's brother, Lord Jin, was actively hostile. He sent messages to the Velan High Council calling humans dangerous. He demanded the summit be ended immediately. On the 5th day, Princess Hana sent another secret message. I'm ready, it said. I want to try again. A longer contact. I need to truly understand. Dr. Bora looked at the team. Is it safe? Commander Nari has done it multiple times now, Dr. Yuri said. She's fine. Tired, but fine. Princess Hana should be able to handle it. The political risk is enormous, Ambassador Quan warned. If this goes wrong, Lord Jin will use it as proof that we're dangerous. And if it goes right, Tay said, maybe the princess can convince her people that we're not a threat. That we're just different. They set up the medical lab again, late at night when few people were around. Princess Hana arrived wearing a simple robe, her colors muted and calm. Are you sure about this? Tay asked her. I've never been more sure of anything, Hana replied. I need to understand your people. And I think this is the only way. They sat facing each other. Dr. Bora explained the plan. They would hold hands for 30 seconds. Hana would be monitored the entire time. If anything went wrong, they would stop immediately. Ready? Dr. Bora asked. Hana nodded. Tay reached out his hands. Hana placed hers in his dot. The world exploded into light and color. Hana's entire body glowed like the sun. Every color imaginable flowed through her crystalline form. Her eyes locked onto Tay's, and he saw recognition there. Understanding, wonder. 30 seconds felt like hours. When they finally released hands, Hana sat back, trembling but smiling. I saw you, she whispered. All of you. Every part of what makes you human. The joy and the pain. The love and the loss. The desperate need to matter, to be remembered, to make your brief time meaningful. Tears rolled down her crystalline cheeks. You humans are beautiful, she said. You're so alive. The news spread through the Velan delegation like fire. Princess Hana had touched a human again, willingly, and survived. More than that, she was changed by it. Everyone could see it in the way her colors moved, brighter and more fluid than before. She spoke about humans differently now, with understanding and compassion. Lord Jin heard about it within hours. He stormed into his sister's quarters without permission, his crystalline body dark red with anger. What have you done? He demanded. You deliberately disobeyed the council. You exposed yourself to that creature again. Hana stood her ground. Captain Tay is not a creature. He's a person. And I learned more from touching him than I learned from a lifetime of study. You learned that humans can invade our minds. Jin shouted. Don't you see? They've weaponized their consciousness. They can overwhelm us with a simple touch. What happens if we go to war with them? What happens if they learn to do this on purpose? They're not doing it on purpose, Hana argued. They don't even know they're broadcasting. It's just part of who they are. That makes it worse, Jin said coldly. An enemy you can see is better than one that attacks without knowing it. Sister, you've always been naive. You see the best in everyone. But I see the threat. Humans are dangerous, whether they mean to be or not. You're wrong, Hana said. I felt what they are. They're not dangerous. They're just passionate. They feel everything so deeply because their lives are so short. Then they should stay away from us, Jin said. I'm calling for an emergency High Council session. This summit ends tomorrow. The humans will be sent home, and all contact will be severed. Brother, please. Don't, Jin said. You've embarrassed our family enough. Stay in your quarters. That's an order. He left, and Hana sat down slowly. She knew her brother was powerful. He had the ear of many council members. If he pushed hard enough, he could end everything. She sent a message to Commander Nari. We need to act fast. Jin is moving against the humans. Meanwhile, in the human quarters, Captain Su was doing routine security checks when her scanners picked up something odd. 3 Velen energy signatures, moving through maintenance tunnels toward the human living area. They weren't using the main corridors. They were trying to stay hidden. Su grabbed her communicator. Security alert. Unknown Velens approaching Section 7. I'm investigating. She moved quickly through the corridors, hand on her weapon. She had trained for hostile situations, but she never thought she'd face one here. The summit was supposed to be about peace. She rounded a corner and saw them. 3 Velens in dark clothing, carrying devices she didn't recognize. When they saw her, they didn't run. They attacked. Energy blasts hit the wall beside Sue's head. She dove for cover, returning fire with her stunner. All units, hostile contact. I need backup now. The fight was brief, but intense. Sue managed to stun one attacker. The other 2 tried to run, but human security teams blocked their escape routes. Within minutes, all 3 were captured. Ambassador Quan arrived as they were being restrained. What's going on? They were trying to sabotage our quarters, Sue said, showing him one of the devices. Dr. Yuri is checking it now, but it looks like some kind of biological contamination bomb. If this had gone off, we'd all be quarantined for weeks. Maybe longer. Who sent them? Quan demanded. The captured Velens refused to speak. But Commander Nari arrived and questioned them in their own language. After a few minutes, she turned to Quan with a grim expression. They're extremists. Followers of Lord Jin. They believe humans are a plague that must be stopped. This is an act of war, Quan said. No, Nari replied quickly. These 3 acted alone. Lord Jin will deny any knowledge. But you're right to be angry. This proves there are Velens who want the summit to fail. The High Council convened that evening. Both delegations were summoned. The council chamber was massive, with seats arranged in a circle. The Velen council members sat in their places, their bodies glowing with various colors. High Chancellor Seok sat at the head. His expression unreadable. Ambassador Quan presented evidence of the attack. Security footage showed the 3 Velens clearly. This is unacceptable, Quan said. We came here in peace. We've been nothing but cooperative. And now we're being attacked in our own quarters. Lord Jin stood up. His voice was calm, controlled. Ambassador, I condemn this attack completely. These individuals acted without authority. They've been arrested and will face justice. But let's not forget why they felt the need to act. Your people have already proven they can overwhelm our consciousness with a simple touch. You've turned our own princess against us with your mind tricks. Mind tricks? Princess Hana stood up, her colors flashing gold with indignation. Brother, you go too far. The humans have done nothing but try to help us understand what's happening. Exactly, Jin said smoothly. They've made you believe that. You touched one of them, and now you defend them. Don't you see? They've already invaded your mind. Murmurs went through the Velen Council. Some members looked concerned. Others looked skeptical. High. Chancellor Siok raised his hand for silence. Princess Hana, Lord Jin makes a valid point. You have been in direct contact with the human. You may not be objective. I am more objective than anyone here, Hana said. I'm the only one who truly understands what humans are. Yes, I felt Captain Tay's consciousness when we touched, but I also felt his intentions. I felt his desire for peace. I felt his fear of harming me. Humans don't want to hurt us. They want to know us. And that's precisely the danger, Jin said. They want to know everything about us. They want to get inside our minds. What happens when they learn to control this ability? What happens when they use it as a weapon? They can't control it, Dr. Bora said, standing up. May I speak? Siok nodded. Dr. Bora presented all their research. The brain scans, the measurements of the resonance fields, the controlled experiments with Commander Nari. Humans aren't broadcasting their consciousness intentionally. It's simply a byproduct of how our brains work. We're emotional, empathetic, intensely connected to each other. That's what you're sensing. Not an attack. Just us being us. Then you should learn to control it, Jin said. Or stay away from our people. That's not fair, Princess Hana said. You're punishing them for being what they are. I'm protecting our people, Jin countered. And if the council has any sense, they'll vote to end this summit immediately. High Chancellor Siok looked around the chamber. We will vote tomorrow, he said. Both delegations will have the night to present any final arguments. Council members will consider all evidence. Then we decide, continue or end contact with humanity. As they filed out of the chamber, Captain Tay caught Princess Hana's eye. She looked sad but determined. She mouthed 2 words to him. Don't give up. That night, the human delegation gathered in Ambassador Kwan's quarters. The mood was dark. We're losing, Kwan said. Lord Jin is too persuasive. Half the council already wants us gone. We need something that will change their minds, Dr. Yuri said. Something dramatic. Something that proves we're not a threat. What about more demonstrations? Professor Day suggested. More Velens touching humans, showing it's safe. It won't be enough, Captain Su said. Not after the attack. They're scared of us now. Tay had been quiet, thinking. Now he spoke up. What if we show them why humans are the way we are? Not just that we're safe, but why we matter. Why our intensity, our emotion, our brief burning existence is something valuable, not something dangerous. How do we do that? Kwan asked. I don't know yet, Tay admitted. But Princess Hana understood after she touched me. She saw what we are, and she thought it was beautiful. Maybe if more Velens could understand that, really understand it, they wouldn't be afraid anymore. Dr. Bora looked thoughtful. There might be a way. If Princess Hana agreed to share her experience with other Velens. They have that bioluminescent network. They can share memories and sensations through it. If she broadcast what she felt when she touched you, the entire Velen population could experience it. Would she do that? Kwan asked. Only one way to find out, Tay said. He sent a message to Princess Hana. Her reply came within minutes. Yes, I'll do it. For both our peoples. Meet me before the council session tomorrow. We'll give them something they'll never forget. The morning of the council vote arrived cold and tense. Captain Tay stood in the observation deck, watching the sun rise over the edge of Meridian 7. This might be his last morning on the station. By afternoon, the Velans might vote to send all humans home and close contact forever. Princess Hana found him there. She looked tired. Her colors were more muted than usual, but there was determination in her posture. "Are you ready?" she asked. "I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be ready for," Tay admitted. "You said you had a plan." "I'm going to broadcast," Hana said simply. "The memories and sensations I experienced when I touched you. Every Velan has access to our communication network. They can all receive what I send. It's how we share important information across our entire civilization." "You're going to share what you felt?" Tay asked. "All of it?" "All of it," Hana confirmed. "They need to understand what humans are. Not what my brother thinks you are, but what you truly are. The only way to do that is to let them experience it themselves." "Will it work?" Tay asked. "I don't know," Hana said honestly. "But it's the only chance we have." The council votes in 3 hours. Before they do, I'll broadcast. Every Velan on this station, on our ships, even on our home worlds, will be able to feel what I felt. Then they can decide if humans are truly dangerous or just misunderstood. She turned to face him directly. "But I need your permission. The memories I'm sharing are yours. Your childhood, your fears, your hopes, everything that makes you who you are. I'll be showing all of that to billions of Velans. Is that acceptable?" Tay thought about it. His memories were private, personal, but if sharing them could save the summit, save the chance for peace between their species, how could he say no? "Do it," he said. "Share everything. If it helps them understand us, it's worth it." Hana's colors shifted to warm gold. "Thank you, Captain. You're braver than you know." 2 hours later, the Velan Council gathered. But before the session officially began, High Chancellor Seok received a message that Princess Hana wanted to make a statement. He looked annoyed, but allowed it. Hana walked to the center of the chamber. All eyes were on her. Lord Jin watched with suspicion, his colors dark and brooding. "Members of the council," Hana said, her voice clear and strong. "Before you vote today, I ask that you experience something with me. I have prepared a broadcast of my encounter with Captain Tay. Not just a description, but the actual sensations, memories, and emotions I experienced when we touched. I want you all to feel what I felt. Then you can make an informed decision." "This is manipulation," Lord Jin said immediately. "She's trying to force us to sympathize with the humans." "I'm trying to help you understand them," Hana corrected. "You're about to make a decision that will affect both our species for generations. Shouldn't that decision be based on truth, not fear?" High Chancellor Seok considered this. "Very well. Proceed with your broadcast, Princess. But know that we will judge the content carefully." Hana closed her eyes. Her body began to glow brighter and brighter. Colors swirled through her crystalline form, faster and more intense than Tay had ever seen. She was connecting to the Velan network, preparing to send. Then, with a flash of pure white light, she broadcast. Every Velan on Meridian 7 froze. Their bodies lit up simultaneously, all connected to Hana's transmission. Through their network, the signal spread to the ships, to relay stations, across space to the Velan homeworlds. Billions of Velans, all receiving the same message at once, and they felt it. They felt Captain Tay's consciousness as Princess Hana had experienced it. They felt a child running through grass, laughing as his mother called him home for dinner. They felt the grief when that same mother passed away years later, leaving an emptiness that never fully healed. They felt the pride of joining the military, of serving something bigger than himself. They felt the loneliness of deep space missions, staring at stars and wondering if anyone else was out there. They felt fear when the Velans first made contact, afraid of saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, starting a war through ignorance. They felt hope. Desperate, burning hope that this could work. That humans and aliens could be friends. That the universe was bigger and more wonderful with others in it. They felt love. For his crewmates. For his home planet. For the potential of what could be if they didn't mess this up. Then underneath it all, they felt the urgency. The awareness that Captain Tay had maybe 40 or 50 more years to live. That every day mattered. That every connection was precious because time was so limited. That humans burned bright because they had to, because there was so much to experience and so little time to experience it. The broadcast lasted only 3 minutes. When it ended, the Velen Council sat in stunned silence. Some had tears on their crystalline faces. Others were trembling. All of them looked changed. High Chancellor Seok spoke first, his voice shaking. I felt everything. In 3 minutes, I understood more about humanity than months of reports taught me. That's what they are, Princess Hana said quietly. That intensity, that passion, that desperate need to make every moment count. It's not a weapon. It's just their nature. Lord Jin stood up. For once, he looked uncertain. I felt it too. The human's fear. His hope. His... Jin paused, struggling with the words. His kindness. He was genuinely afraid of hurting you, sister. I felt that fear. It was real. Around the chamber, other council members spoke up. I've lived for 3 centuries, one elder said. But in those 3 minutes, I felt more than I've felt in decades. How do humans manage it? How do they carry that much emotion all the time? Because they have to, Princess Hana said. They don't have centuries. They have decades. So they feel everything more strongly, more urgently. That's not weakness. That's strength. Outside the council chamber, something unexpected was happening. Velen citizens were gathering. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. They had all received the broadcast. They had all felt what Princess Hana shared. And now they wanted to experience it for themselves. Commander Nari came running into the chamber. Chancellor, you need to see this. The humans' quarters are surrounded. Tay felt his heart sink. Surrounded by who? By Velens, Nari said, but she was smiling. They're asking to touch humans. They want to experience it directly. After the broadcast, they're not afraid anymore. They're curious. Ambassador Quan stood up. You mean they want voluntary contact? More than that, Nari said. They're calling it a gift. They say touching a human is like experiencing life at full intensity, even if just for a moment. They want to understand. They want to feel what it means to be human. I, Chancellor Seok, looked at Lord Jin. Brother, what say you now? You claimed humans were dangerous, but our own people are asking to touch them. Jin sat down slowly. All the fight had gone out of him. I was wrong, he said quietly. I felt the broadcast like everyone else. Humans aren't dangerous. They're just different, more alive than we are, in some ways. Then I call for a vote, Seok said. All in favor of continuing the summit and establishing formal relations with humanity? Every hand in the chamber went up. Even Lord Jin's. It's unanimous, Seok declared. The summit continues. More than that, I propose a new role. Emotional ambassadors. Humans who volunteer to help Velens understand complex emotional situations through direct contact. With consent. With protocols. But with the understanding that this is a gift humanity can share with us. The council erupted in discussion, but it was excited now, hopeful. Plans were being made. Protocols were being written. The fear had turned to opportunity. Outside, Captain Tay found himself surrounded by Velen civilians. They approached slowly, respectfully. May I? One asked, extending a hand. Tay, looked at Ambassador Quan, who nodded with a smile. Go ahead, Captain. It seems you're ambassador now, whether you planned it or not. Tay reached out and touched the Velen's hand. Colors exploded through the alien's body. Joy, wonder, understanding. When they separated, the Velen bowed deeply. Thank you, they said. I felt what you feel. It was beautiful. One by one, other Velens came forward. Each touch was brief but profound. Each one left the Velen changed, more understanding of what humans were. Princess Hana found Tay in the middle of this crowd. She waited until he had a moment free, then approached him. You did it, Tay said. You saved the summit. We did it together, Hana corrected. You were willing to share yourself, even knowing the risk. That's very human of you. Very brave. Can I ask you something? Tay said. When we touched that first time, when you shook my hand and started to quiver, what was that? Why did you react so strongly? Hana smiled, her colors shifting through gentle rainbows. Because I felt you completely for the first time. And you were so much more than I expected. So much more alive, more present, more intensely real than anyone I had ever known. It was overwhelming, but also wonderful. Like seeing color for the first time when you've only known shades of gray. She took his hand again, gently. This time, prepared, she didn't quiver. She just glowed softly, experiencing his consciousness with understanding and appreciation. You humans carry entire universes inside you, she said. Your mortality makes every moment precious, every connection meaningful. We Valens have lived for centuries, but you've taught us how to truly feel alive. That's a gift beyond measure.